Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, it seems the Hovenza sale is pulling through after all. Instead of having to wait for an evidentiary hearing in mid-December, Hovenza filed for approval of the sale Monday before a bankruptcy court judge after parties reached an agreement that would prevent the process from dragging on further. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Hovenza has filed to finalize the sale of the refinery today, Monday. The company asked bankruptcy judge Mary Walrath to approve the sale of its sprawling facility on St. Croix to its chosen bidder, Lime Tree Bay Holdings, a subsidiary of ArcLight Capital Partners. Initially, only the storage facility was up for sale as ArcLight Partners, the stalking horse bidder, expressed interest in only the storage section. Eventually, both ArcLight and Buckeye Partners, the other major bidder, expanded their bids to include the refinery as well. The Hovenza sales process was embroiled in allegations of collusion, accusations that Governor Kenneth Mapp vehemently denied last week.
The issue of collusion has nothing to do with the VI government. I know when you say the word collusion or corruption, the first thing you think is, well, they got to be the black people at the table. And I'm just going to say that, whether people like the term or not. I have nothing to sell. I can't collude with a company. I remember I'm in the bankruptcy case as the VI government because I am a secured creditor.
According to the governor, other things need to be considered in the selection of the successful bidder, including environmental concerns. He was willing to be deposed, he said, but that may not be necessary. Parties reached an agreement that allowed for the sale to move forward instead of having the evidentiary hearing that the judge previously slated for December 17th to address the collusion allegations. Judge Walrath, however, still required evidence that could be submitted as filings to the court. Hovenza and the government of the Virgin Islands did just that within the last few days to facilitate the sale. The government of the Virgin Islands is expected to get $100 million out of the sale of the refinery. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And Governor Mapp has scheduled a press conference on the sale on Tuesday. We will have details from the conference. The government of the Virgin Islands has filed a motion to dismiss the case that Laverne Mills Williams, former Special Assistant Attorney General, filed against Governor Mapp, Chief of Staff Randy Knight, Acting Attorney General Claude Walker, and the Office of the Governor. The motion asserts that there has been no violation of the Whistleblower Protection Act of the Virgin Islands law because Mills Williams failed to establish herself as a whistleblower, that she failed to state a claim for misrepresentation, failed to state a claim for tortious interference with contract, and because Mills Williams served at the pleasure of the governor. On Sunday, an explosion was reported at the Marriott's Frenchman's Reef and Morningstar Beach Resort at 11:02 a.m. Both units from Hotel Company of the VI Fire Service responded to the 911 call. Fire personnel were escorted by the security staff to the hotel's kitchen area, where they found the fire already out. On arrival, 2 hotel employees did sustain burn injuries and were both transported by EMS personnel to the Roy Lester Schneider Hospital for further observation and treatment. By 11:45 a.m., both units and crew returned to the hotel company. Police say 50-year-old Alvery Smith of St. Thomas was charged with embezzlement and forgery after the former MoneyGram agent admitted he failed to deposit $1.4 million in a company account and used the funds for personal benefit. Smith was arrested at Mail Plus, located in Tutu Park Mall, without incident and transported to the Richard Colwood Command, where he was processed and remanded to the Bureau of Corrections with bail of $95,000. Smith was charged with embezzlement by fiduciaries, embezzlement by clerks, agents, employees, grand larceny, and forgery. Meanwhile, the territory has experienced violence back-to-back yet again as a string of shootings were reported on St. Croix. Several men sustained injuries, and the common trend is the use of vehicles in the commission of the crime. One lawmaker is pointing to lack of vigilance on the streets. News 2's April Knight has more.
The last few days on St. Croix was marked with gun violence as 3 separate shooting incidents resulted in 6 men being injured. Close to midnight on November 26, Thursday, a 23-year-old male said he was walking to Dorsch Beach when unknown individuals drove by him in a vehicle and discharged gunfire. He was struck in the forearm, but he would not reveal any more information to the police. And then on Saturday around 9 p.m., the VIPD got word from Juan Louis Hospital of a gunshot wound. The victim said he was walking in the vicinity of the Paul E. Joseph Stadium when a vehicle also drove by and its passengers fired on him. Also that same evening, 4 men who were changing their flat tire near the Carlton Road exit of the Melvin Evans Highway were injured when an unknown vehicle drove by and individuals inside fired at them. With all 3 incidents involving individuals wielding weapons in vehicles, one lawmaker is renewing his calls for vigilance. According to Senator Kenneth Gittens, the lack of routine traffic stops give criminal elements the confidence to move through the territory armed or with weapons in their vehicles, which makes resorting to gun violence much easier.
When these gun-toting criminals know that the probability of a routine traffic stop is highly unlikely at any given time, they drive vehicles from one end of the island to the next with weapons as they please and plan or carry out their criminal activities.
Gittens is also calling for a collaboration between local and federal authorities. He said the stretched resources of the VIPD need all the help they can get. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Also, police say Malik Cheatham, 64 of Solberg, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of grand larceny and 1 count of destruction of property. They say on Tuesday, October 15th at 10:15 p.m. to Wednesday, October 16th at 3:56 a.m. Cheatham was seen in video surveillance footage entering H&W Distributors located on Gaswork Gata, removing merchandise totaling $801. While on Monday, October 26th, he broke into and removed tools from Tempere International, a company vehicle totaling $100. Also on Thursday, November 24th, as he broke the rear passenger glass of an H&W Distributors company vehicle and damaged the company's video surveillance equipment. That's what police said. Bail was set at $35,000. Coast Guard rescue crews recovered the body of a missing crew member, as we reported, from the 275-foot Chilean flagged cargo vessel Burke N, approximately 25 nautical miles north of Hatillo, Puerto Rico. The death and circumstances that caused Luis Leiva Alega, 62, a Chilean national and first engineer aboard the Burke N, to go overboard are still being investigated. The Burke was seen en route from Gibraltar to Cuba, transiting approximately 45 nautical miles north of Puerto Rico. Coast Guard rescue crews began searching for Aliega when the Coast Guard received marine radio communications from the Burke reporting him missing after he did not report to his scheduled watch. Turn our attention overseas. Colorado's shooting suspect Robert Dare was due in court today. Authorities say he shot and killed 3 people, including a university police officer at a Planned Parenthood clinic Friday, in a bloody standoff that lasted nearly 6 hours. Meantime, there are new details about a possible motive. A law enforcement official tells CNN Dare talked about baby parts to investigators after his surrender and said he was anti-government and anti-abortion views. Authorities also found propane tanks in the area of his car, possibly intended to create an explosion. Keeping our eye on the economy, lots of sales marked as Cyber Monday specials were available before Monday. The vast majority of retailers waited until Monday to make its online sales live. Target said its website was restored after being swamped on Cyber Monday by would-be shoppers. The outage angered some would-be shoppers, and shares of Target were down more than 1% in Monday afternoon trading. 2 years ago, the records of millions of Target customers' accounts were compromised in a Christmas time hacking. Here's the stock market watch, taking a look at the numbers there. Everything down. The Dow 73, NASDAQ 18, S&P 500 also down at 9. Coming up on News 2, 'tis the season. As we just mentioned, many went online for some shopping, Cyber Monday, plus some events for you to mark on your Christmas and Carnival calendar. We're coming back. Crucian Christmas Carnival events are officially underway. Mass for the Seniors was held during the Herbert Grigg Home for the Aged. Seniors were able to recall the old-time carnival days with the carnival parade at the home. There was music, mini troops, and much more. We'll have highlights for you on Tuesday. Meanwhile, here's some more major Crucian Carnival events. The Prince and Princess Show is slated for December 13th, 3 p.m. at Island Center. The St. Croix Carnival Queen competition will be held December 20th, also at Island Center, starting at 5 p.m. And of course, the main village in Frederickstead opens December 26th at 7 p.m. and it will remain open until January 3rd. Of course, 'tis the season. This year was the 10th anniversary of Cyber Monday. As we mentioned earlier, Target said its website was restored after being swamped on Cyber Monday by would-be shoppers, and PayPal struggled through interruptions on the biggest online shopping day of the year. Cyber Monday is a marketing invention that was first observed in 2005 by online retailer Shop.org, seen as an online version of Black Friday. Cyber Monday was created to allow customers to shop online from the comfort of their offices and homes. The day after Thanksgiving in the United States is traditionally considered to be the beginning of the Christmas shopping season. And on this day, retailers have sales and provide massive discounts to attract customers, making it one of the busiest shopping days of the year. As a result, many people tend to stay away from stores to avoid the crowds. Well, the Virgin Islands Port Authority is inviting the public to a big shopping event, the Frederickstead Holiday Fest at the Butter Park Bandstand and Ann Abramson Marine Facility on St. Croix. They will be holding their huge event on Saturday, December 5th. The celebration begins at 4 p.m. and will continue through midnight, featuring live entertainment by Heart Attack International Band, Renaissance Band, Ultimate Sounds, II Cultural Dance Company, and various school performances. Santa, of course, will bear gifts as he lights the Christmas tree at 7 p.m. But the holiday festivities begin with a celebration at the Vipa Crown Bay Holiday Fest and tree lighting on St. Thomas. In addition to holiday sales at the Crown Bay Center stores, the entire center will be transformed from 10 a.m. tomorrow through midnight, featuring local steel orchestras, Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Spectrum Band, and Cool Sessions Brass. Vendors will be there, the lighting of the Christmas tree, and Santa Claus bearing the gifts for children. Commissioner Gustav James of the Department of Public Works is hosting a Main Street revitalization stakeholders meeting at Government House in St. Thomas this evening. It began about an hour ago. James will provide information on the construction timeline and the mitigation efforts. This discussion will include representatives from the Water and Power Authority, Department of Tourism, Virgin Islands Police Department, Department of Planning and Natural Resources, VI Waste Management Authority, and Tip Top Construction, among many others. Representatives will be answering questions pertaining to the different elements of construction, and we'll have more on Tuesday's newscast. An international dive team will arrive on St. Thomas on Tuesday for a record-breaking dive set to take place in the waters off Coral World. The attempt is a fundraiser to earn $1 million for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Keith Sagre, the diver, he's hoping for 144 hours. The 40-year-old feels he is well prepared because he works and lives in a habitat at the bottom of the ocean, 30 days at a time, building pipelines in Africa, the Mideast, and Southeast Asia. He said it was on his bucket list, and Make-A-Wish has helped a family member of his as well. On Tuesday, the world comes together to highlight a disease that has claimed the lives of millions across the globe. World AIDS Day is celebrated December 1st this year, and the Virgin Islands is taking part. On St. Croix, the March for AIDS and Candlelight Vigil in Frederiksted, that begins at the Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts at 5:45 p.m. There will be a reading of the proclamation, presentation of the Getting It to Zero Poetry Contest winner, and a rose petal ceremony. On St. Thomas, the Candlelight Vigil begins at Emancipation Garden at 6 p.m. and will feature a choir rendition, reading of proclamation, and presentation of poetry winners, spearheaded by the Department of Health. Here's more.
We're always trying to bring it to zero. We have a commercial that's going to launch. It's called I Love You. And so we really try to use this commercial to kind of soften up and humanize folks that do have HIV, because people look at them as a statistic, which is wrong. And the department's job and role is to make sure that we speak out against that.
And we will have the highlights. The 2015 hurricane season is officially over. How did we fare? Well, we dealt with wet weather over the weekend because of a mid to upper level trough. There was some WAPA service interruption on feeder number 6A on St. Croix. Some tree branches down. They were on lines near the Salt River entrance. Crews were out working very hard. Flash flood warnings were issued for St. Thomas and St. Croix. Numerous showers and rainfall amounts, and according to forecasters, there may be more to come. Details coming up next. Stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up.